Hey, this is Trio 6, aka Cheapest Gamer. Thank you for checking out my channel. And this is just a brief tutorial of schedule mode when you have to use 3 gold players max. The 3 games you'll have to do it in is games 15, games 29, and game 30. The reason why it's a little bit difficult is because, you're using 3 golds and against and you're using silvers as well, but you're also against rubies, amethysts, diamonds. And with this tutorial, I found this way to be the most efficient way to get through these schedule modes because I'm currently grinding through them right now. I think I'm on 17 right now of 30. So, yeah, it's a grind. Each one is about 10 hours. And the game is getting ready to start here. But I'm actually going to go over my defensive settings that I set for every game. We'll do tight on ball, tight off ball, and then I turn down the help defense down to 0 to help cut down on fouls. And I do run plays frequently just so that my players are constantly moving and not being stagnant. So the game is getting ready to start here, and I always let the defense get the first possession just so that I automatically get the ball beginning a second and third quarter. If I'm struggling, not scoring anything like that, it's always nice to get the ball so you can try to get a lead here. Those settings that I just set there, I always do physical, grab boards, and play man to man. And now here I'm actually going to set up my offense. So we'll do warriors, space the floor, and we always run ISO. You can either run ISO or pick and roll. I like running ISO just because it allows me to get to the basket, and you can go to the hash mark on either side and run the play, or you can run it from top of the perimeter here. Just so you can easily get to the basket, score. Another nice thing to have is players who have a high draw foul rating, just so that you'll constantly have the other team in foul trouble, which will lead to more free throws for your team. In the beginning here, I actually switched Thon Maker and Ben Simmons. Now, the reason I did that is because you have Thon Maker, who's going to, pretty much lock down most point guards just due to his length, which will cause him to not have a scoring option. And with Ben Simmons either on their power forward or center, he's easily going to, get that blow by animation and go for the dunk or, get the layup or get the foul. So that's why I switched those two in the beginning here. As you can see, there's a little bit of off ball, just to help protect the paint. Because the main thing about these games is you want to get out to a lead early, just because, these teams will go into God mode and they'll just not miss. So you definitely want to get out to a lead early. And you see here, Microsoft kind of stops me. So I just pull it back, take my time and reset the play. So I do it a couple times. I eventually get by him with the dunk. So with that, that's pretty much all the plays that you'll see in this tutorial. It's not the most exciting, but it is an efficient way to get through these games. Now, the other scheduled games, you'll have restrictions like this, but it won't be as tight as 3 gold players max. Like you might have to use 3 players from the team schedule you're doing, or maybe 5, maybe 6, maybe 7 or 8. So before you start any schedule, you'll definitely want to pick up 8 players from that team. Now, in those games where you have to use X amount of players, you don't have to run them. I only run a 5-man offense or 5-man rotation when I'm doing the other schedules, just because I know those players and it allows me to get out to an earlier lead. Excuse me. And that just leads to more MT total. Especially if you're using this method for domination, historic domination, all-time domination, it doesn't matter. But if you are using it for domination, you definitely want to, keep on pace and just keep going with it. You don't want to take any possessions off. You want to play good defense, great on-ball defense, or if you want, you can try and off-ball. But a lot of times the opposing team, they'll actually score they'll just hit crazy shots, fadeaways, things like that. So as you can see right now, we're almost at the end of the first quarter, and they call a timeout here. So they're going to bring in their subs. And now this is the reason why I put two goal players on the bench. Just because a lot of these teams, when you're facing these types of games, these type of opponents, they won't have a strong starting, a strong bench. So like they'll have a lot of silvers or bronze. So when that time, or so during that time, you definitely want to play, more aggressive, just so that you can get out to an earlier lead. And you'll see here too, Dion Waiters, he's probably scores like 16 or 18 points, throughout the game. But, it's really nice to have that scoring option off the bench, and along with Dwight Howard playing great defense and rebounding. So we're going to just let the video play out here. Sorry there's no audio. This was recorded directly from my PS4. Like, I don't have a capture card or Elgato or anything, and I'm hoping that this audio actually syncs up properly. But yeah, so we're just going to let it go here into the second quarter. And you'll see that, I've ran these players the whole first quarter. And then as soon as the second quarter hits, I take them right out and put the bench in. But we'll let this first quarter play out. And then we'll get back to you when the second quarter starts. Oh, and I hope this audio comes out good and clear, just because I'm actually recording with my Note 8. So we'll see how that turns out, and, get it uploaded and everything. But also in the description there, I'll definitely I'll put a link to 2K MT Central and just show you the players that I use for these like restricted games like this. There's a lot of good, there's really good silver moments players that you can use that'll, give you a boost, whether it's with rebounding, defense, anything like that. So, well, yeah, that's the end of the first quarter. Anytime there's like a animation, an animation, or if there's constant, just things that are slowing down the game, like timeouts, things like that, you'll want to just like rapidly just, keep tapping X. You can also do that during free throws as well, just so that you can get through the game faster, because like I mentioned earlier, these schedule modes, if you go through it without having to repeat or, get lagged out or anything like that, like on average they can take 10 hours, just because the last games are 6-minute quarters. And this one here is 5-minute quarters, but most of the games are going to be 4 minutes, 3 minutes, just standard or shorter challenges, or maybe a couple quarters. So, but yeah, we're running the same thing here. ISO, or you can run a pick and roll again. I just like running the ISO because it allows me to get to the bucket. A couple dribble moves is all it takes. So it's not too hard to do, but you definitely want to make sure that you have your settings set early on, because if you don't, like if you have aced adaptive coaching engine or anything like that, it'll mess up your whole flow with these games. So I don't think I showed that in the settings there, but I can definitely post a screenshot of the settings that I place in addition to the end game settings, which you have to set every time, which is unfortunate. But as you can see here, we're up 17-9. They get that call, because with your players playing tight, they will, play aggressive on their opponent. So that'll, you'll get some fouls there, but more than not, you'll get a steal, leads to a fast break, things like that. So, but yeah, Dion Waiters, normally he finishes really well. Like, he's either going to dunk it, get the layup, or get the foul. So I'm not really sure what his draw foul rating is. But he gets a ton of fouls. Like, most of the points I score with him are from the free throw line. And that's, something to take note of as well, too. If you're using this strategy for, if you're using this strategy for, all-time domination, regular domination, or historic is that you want to get your 10 free throws and your 5 3-pointers. Now, the more you make, the higher percentage of points you'll get. So if you go 10 for 10 from the line, you're going to get 100 points added on to your total. And those extra points you get are critical, especially when you're playing the higher tier games. You need 800 points or 900 or whatever the score is to advance and get the 3 stars. So we're playing decent defense here, but again, with it being on tight, sometimes you'll allow a lot of backdoor cuts and things like that, which is okay for the most part because they'll have a quick possession. So then you'll actually have the ball more often, so you'll have more of a chance to score, which is one of the main things that I strive for in this game, especially when you're going through the other schedules. Now, the other scheduled games, I mean, you can use this strategy for, those games as well, too. I mean, it'll be a lot easier because you can pretty much use whoever you want. I have a few players who have diamond contracts, so I'll use them along with Iguodala, who doesn't have a diamond contract, and another player, my center, Mutombo, he doesn't have a diamond contract, but it's only 240 points for 5 games. I'll just buy them right before the game. Like, I won't go to the auction house. It's just cheaper to buy their contracts through there and whoever else you need contracts for. So right now you see we're up 25-12, 13-point lead. Normally in these games, I'd like to get like a 20-point lead, and if I'm not really feeling it or anything like that, I'll just start to coast. I'll waste the clock because you have 24 seconds to, get the ball up the court, score. But if it's before like the 2 or 1 minute mark, you can actually like hold the ball out of bounds for 4 seconds and then get the ball in, so you can actually have a possession of almost 30 seconds. So, that'll, if the other team starts going on a run, you can definitely, not pause, but you can definitely take a timeout just to slow them down and just to refocus and things like that. So, but yeah, as you'll see throughout this gameplay, like, I don't use timeouts, just because I want to get through these games as fast as possible, because it's not an easy grind. It'll definitely take you some time, but same thing, running ISO, couple dribble moves, and we actually kick it out, just to test it out. He really can't shoot threes, and that's another thing that you really don't want to do in this mode, or in these games particular when you're playing, just because, threes lead to long rebounds, which leads to fast breaks for the other team, which you don't want to happen, because if they get going, they'll definitely catch up and, get ahead of you, and then you're, struggling to get back in the game, or, you might scrape by with the win, or you might have to play the game again. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to play these games again if I don't have to. So I definitely try to get these wins every time. And even with this strategy here, I've been using this strategy probably since the 7th schedule I completed, and I haven't lost one of the games yet. So, yay for me, because these games take a while. But now we're still up 11 points. It's fine. Excuse me. We're up 11 here, playing good defense on Gasol, and that's mainly an area that you want to focus on, is at the free throw line and in the paint, because a lot of the time, the point guard will try to get by you and go for a layup like that, or they'll pull up right from the free throw line. So you definitely want to have like your center placed in that area. And I shouldn't have thrown that pass. That was a dumb pass on my part, but we still get the ball. And then we're still up 9 here, so it's getting kind of close. But just take your time and don't rush anything, because when you start rushing plays or possessions, that's when you start messing up and things like that. So we're gonna bring it back here, and we're gonna let Dwight go here. I don't think he makes it, but we still wasted that time. So they only have 5 seconds. They'll probably score here, which happens, but it's just a computer AI. Like, they're definitely gonna score on you and make the most ridiculous shots, like I mentioned earlier. But yeah, we're shooting a better percentage. We have more rebounds here. They have more assists, but we're beating them in steals and blocks. So that's definitely a good start to the first half. So again, we have Ben Simmons here running point, and Marc Gasol is guarding him because we switched him at center at the beginning of the game. So, but yeah, easy plays like that. It's not the most flashy way to play these games, but it'll be definitely be effective when you're isoing your man, you're tiring them out, um, and just going through and just playing good defense, going for the fast break or slow it down even, or you want to let them cut to the baskets. I mean, there's so many options you can do. On the fast break, you definitely want to score or at least get the foul and get the free throws. But you want to score every possession until you get maybe a 20-25 point lead, and you can start coasting it where if you don't score on every play, it's not going to kill you. So right now we're up 15, and you saw the badges for Ben Simmons light up. I want to say posterizer, putback king, and one man fast break, because with his speed and his height, you definitely want him to have that extra boost when he's trying to finish at the rack. So we're still up 13. And that right there, if you get a possession like that where, the AI is like, I don't know what's going on, just run by him and go for the dunk. And that's another reason why I use Thon Maker at the 1, because he can easily get that blow by animation for, against his opponent. And he can also shoot the 3, he can shoot the mid range, he can drive, he can play defense and grab boards. I mean, I think he's only going for 500 to 600 MT. So that's a steal. And I use him for every game. So, I mean, if there was another silver center like him or power forward, I would definitely use them off the bench. But it's all right. So, yeah, again, so we're just playing good defense here. And, with his length, he's going to get a lot of blocks. You don't have to jump every time because that'll lead to fouls, but you'll definitely want to contest with the right stick. I know there's a lot of tutorials on here about the right stick. Essentially what I do is I just, if they're trying to score in the paint, I'm just going to, push the right stick in their direction. Or if they're deep in the paint, I'm going to push up or push down just so that we get our hands up for that contest. That'll help out on defense, and you'll get a lot less fouls too. So right now, middle of third quarter, and we're still up 15. Yeah, I'm not sure why I paused here. Maybe went to the bathroom, get to drink something. I don't know. But just to reiterate the offense, the options again, you definitely want to go to Warriors, space the floor, and crash offensive rebounds as well too. Just because you definitely want to have players fighting in the paint to get the rebounds. And for offense again, as you can see in the top right corner, it's set to man to man. You want to play physical, and you want to grab rebounds. And another thing I forgot to mention is that you want to set your options to no threes, because a lot of the teams, they have people who have decent 3-pointers or they're really good 3-point shooters. So you definitely want to have your men out there guarding that. But then you also want to set stay home as another option too, just because that'll help with the no help defense, just so that if your player gets beat on a drive, you want to switch over to that player and contest his shot, but you don't want the AI doing that because then that might lead to a foul, which leads to more points for the opponent, and it also slows down the game. So yeah, right now I think it said we had 355 points. If you're keeping score, just well, not really keeping score, but just seeing the amount of points you get from playing good defense, defensive stops, fast breaks, things like that. And for me, when I'm playing these games, like I'm not really concerned about the MT, just because I'm just focused on winning. Because, like I mentioned numerous times, these games they can take a while, especially the longer ones where they're 5 or 6 minutes. Um, but yeah, you'll definitely want to try and get through these games as fast as you can. And right now we're almost closing in on the third quarter, up by 20, make that 23. So at this point, if you're playing like a really good team, you can actually like start coasting, just waste all the shot clock, get a shot up, try to get the rebound, and just repeat that process just so that you don't give them a chance to score, and come back and come back and tie up the game or take the lead and things like that. Um, but yeah, you'll definitely want to just keep on it. And like Thon Maker didn't really score that much in his game because I really didn't go to him as often, just because you know what Ben Simmons, like he was doing well the whole game, playing great defense, getting rebounds, running a fast break, just everything I needed him to do. But yeah, I normally my go to scorers are either going to be Ben Simmons, Thon Maker. I'm not sure if you say his name right, Waba from the Bulls. He's a Silver Moments card, and gold Dion Waiters. So those are my main scorers. TJ Leaf sometimes if he's wide open, but the problem with him is that sometimes you'll get into these later schedules where most of their team is bronze players, or it might just be they might have more silver, so then you're sacrificing one of your personal picks to get to meet that restriction. So you definitely want to take that into account when you're picking up players for these schedules and seeing what team you're working with. And that's another thing I do here. If you can, you want to stack. Well, at least for me, when on defense, or I'm sorry, when the second team comes in, I want to stack the paint with two centers. So I want to have a power forward or a center play power forward and play center, just because centers tend to have better rebounding stats and better defense than a lot of power forwards at the silver tier. So with that, that'll definitely help you out. Get more rebounds and just contest shots a lot easier. So that's the reason why I paused it there and I put Tyson Chandler in the game. You can also do that beginning of the game. I just forgot for this game. And we do that foul there just to get our next player in. And another thing that I almost forgot, with Ben Simmons, he's a Nike athlete, so there's a shoe. I'll have to post a screenshot of it down below because I forget the name of the shoe, but it boosts his free throw and his draw foul +9. So with that, his free throws are a lot easier to hit, and he draws a ton of fouls because you're always driving to the paint with him, so the defenders are always gonna attack him and try to stop him from scoring. So with that, he'll easily average 10, 11, 12 points off of free throws. So he just does some crazy 360 dunk there. But again, same thing, we're going to, slow it down, And I don't know how that pass got through. Kind of glitched there, but we get it back, and we're just looking for Deion Waiters or whoever, because he's our Deion Waiters mainly because he's our main scorer off the bench. Dwight can score, but if you don't really know how to use him in the post, like doing the drop step, the post hook is inconsistent for him. But yeah, he can be a good scorer for you, a good scoring option for you too. I just don't use him a lot because sometimes, in these modes you're playing against like a diamond center who has really great defense. So, drop stepping and things like that from a gold center like isn't going to work on them. So, but yeah, right now we're at 24 points. And if you do have any questions or anything, reach out to me. I'm going to post this on Reddit. I'm going to make a thread about it, and you can post in the comments here. I'll definitely get back to you because I'm always, checking out things on Reddit regarding 2K or, Twitter or anything like that. So, definitely reach out if you have any questions or anything like that. Just wanted to, post this gameplay because I'm not sure if a lot of people posted a full gameplay of, running pick and roll and ISO, mainly for me ISO, but you can run, pick and roll again if if the opposing team like gets smart and they're like, okay, well this guy is ISOing me every time, so we need to bring a double or we need to move over and help, have a secondary defense help out. So, but in this game here, they really didn't help out a lot, so we just kept running the same play. So. And at this point, we're up 25. So normally when it's like the last 2 minutes of the game, like, you can still keep going at it, trying to score and things like that. But a lot of times I'll just sit there and just like zone out because I'm just ready for the next game to get going so I can get through these. But yeah, so you definitely, want to play good defense. Run your offense, know your players, know their ISO moves or dribble moves, things like that. Um, I honestly think those are the main keys to winning these games. Just like knowing your players, like knowing what they can do, not taking a ton of 3-pointers unless they're wide open. Like, there were some other games on schedule mode where I would have Don Maker and his defender would stay off of him and he was in the corner. So I threw it to him like 3 times and, 3 or more times and he hit, at least 75% of those threes. You just got to know his release. It is kind of funky. But yeah, so it all depends on what they're gonna give you. Dwight Howard. I probably missed both of these because made the first one, but no, it's not Dwight Howard. I'm sorry, this is Dion. Wow, so his free throw is kind of iffy as well too because the shot meter doesn't really line up with their shot. Most of the time, and by most I mean like 95% of the time. But yeah, as the game is closing down here or winding down, just garbage time right here. Dwight Howard has 10 points, 11 rebounds. So, you're definitely getting points for your rebounds and things like, Well, and that's the thing, too, I want to mention before the video ends here is that a lot of times, people don't know that if you get a ton of defensive stops in a row, that's 12 points. Because at the end of the game, I think you'll see the MT total. But a lot of times you won't, players don't know that you do get a lot of points for like playing really good defense, like getting steals, lead to fast breaks, defensive stops, even just playing good defense, like getting a hand up, when you're, going against, your opponent, those plus 3 points, like everything adds up, your assists, your made shots, any dunks, 3-pointers, free throws, all of it. Like it all counts. Like there's so many ways to get points in these games just to make sure that, you get enough points. And here's a points recap here. So pretty good, 919, and that's before the bonus you get at the end for completing this. Check out the game stats. Ben Simmons, of course, he does well every time. Really good player to have in these challenges. Just the rest of the players. Well, you can see that we pretty much beat him in every category, minus team fouls and 3-pointers. We both shot the same 3-pointers. And then that's going to do it. So, yeah, if you have any questions, comments, leave them below. Let me know. Reach out